Hello, my name is Philip Lynn. I am a junior at the University of Georgia who has come to Australia to understand the meaning of global health and progress. Our first stop is Sydney, Australia. After arriving, we went to the Featherdale Wildlife Preserve to view some of the most exotic and endemic species of Australia. It amazed me how close and personal you could get to the wildlife without having to worry about any large barriers, and this shows that they've built the park around both the tourist and the animals. Our next couple days were spent in the city, where we got to experience sightseeing and the urban life abroad. Sydney Harbour was one of our main destinations, where we saw street performers, the Opera House, the bridge, and as well as views of the beautiful skyline. We also learned about the natives who once inhabited this area. We discussed their culture and the importance of how they were the original ones to inhabit the area. One day, we took a ferry to Manly Beach and took a 4-mile hike to view the quarantine station at the other end of the town. Here we learned about how early immigrants were cleansed of any diseases and quarantined if they had any diseases, so that they would not contaminate anybody who lived in the country. We related this to some of the modern healthcare in the city, where they utilize public health centers as a way of maintaining sanitary and healthy environments. By providing a healthy environment for the people who live in the city, Sydney has been able to succeed both economically and socially, and I think other cities could learn from their methods of progress. Our next stop was Cairns, Australia. Here we took the opportunity to learn about the tropical rainforest of Queensland. We discussed the importance of sustainability and why the rainforest is an example of how we should sustain our environment. Some methods of sustainability include boardwalks, which allow the tourists to visit the area, and also for scientists to study the area to discover how it's doing and its state of health. Paul O'Dowd was our field guide during our time in the rainforest. He discussed how important they are, how many natural resources we've gotten from it, and why we must work to protect it. Our next stop was Port Douglas, where we traveled 2 days to the Great Barrier Reef. And we spent time snorkeling and observing the reef and looking at the effects of coral bleaching on the reef. We learned about how the reef is important to Australia's GDP, as well as the health on the mainland. They understand why we must work to protect our reefs. We then went to Cape Tribulation to study the rainforest, and after this, to the Outback, where we lived on the Tyrconnell gold mine for 2 nights. What interests me about both Cape Tribulation and the Outback was that while we were here, we were without Wi-Fi, and I learned that there was more to life than just what's on my phone. Out here, people don't have the Wi-Fi, so instead, they find other ways to entertain themselves. In the Outback, this could be farming. In Cape Tribulation, fire twirling's another way. We learned this too in our farm stay because we didn't have Wi-Fi here, so we helped John and Elaine Bullock on their hobby farm, and we learned that you can sustain yourself and keep yourself busy other than being on your phone. And this has taught me that progress is more than just moving forward. Progress is an abstract idea that involves caring for what you have now and sustaining it for the future, and making sure that future generations also have the benefit of having what you had.